Okay, welcome to Black Girl from Eugene. This is Naisha Elliott. How are you doing? I'm. This is a little different for me because I've never recorded and put this on Facebook. I'm looking for my phone right now. Been on Facebook and did this, so please bear with me as we get this together. Martin Alum, you are here with us. I am so. I say us like there's more than just me, but there's really just me. I'm gonna say us as everyone who's watching this video and listening to this video. So, Martin, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to talk about something that is dear to my heart, and I say dear to my heart because it's something that had to contend with all of my working life. I started working when I was 19, in like independently in the medical field, and then now I'm 43. I'll be 44 soon, and I still am working in this within the system, right?
Mhm.
So we're talking about working in a white supremacist system. And I want to I just love that we have crossed paths and that we're gonna do this. I hate that our time got cut short for lots of other reasons, but we're gonna have, if this doesn't get all the way through in this 45 minutes we have, we're gonna do it part two.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
guaranteed, okay? All right. So tell me what made you want to reach out so we can get this going. I mean, I could start, but I don't want to be the one to start. I want to get you started.
Okay. Um, so this really starts. This all kind of started with a situation that I caught myself in at work, and I work in healthcare. I work as a frontline worker, and and part of what I do and what I work, we work in a field where it's like super regulated. Following policy, following procedures, pretty much the bread and butter of working as a tech. And so one day I was working and in the place I work, since I work in retail pharmacy, um, we have our tech policies that we have to follow, and we also have the store policies that we have to follow too. So we're kind of in this, this double policy world where you have to follow two different people telling you what to do, and sometimes that can be overwhelming. I get it.
Mhm.
And so one day I'm coming to work and I'm looking at the system, and it shows that I have like these things called exceptions, which are how we pretty much run employment for retail. It's based off of attendance. The more points you have, the more at risk you are for being fired. And on top of that, um, managers and people who work in management have the ability to remove exceptions or to remove those things if they're suspect or something doesn't seem right about them, to kind of help mitigate the idea of like just getting an exception randomly.
Right.
So back in December, I had received a event exception, which is a double exception for a day that we had as an event, and it was a little confusing to me because we didn't have an event that day. Nobody had said anything about us having an event, and so I had brought that up to my manager. My manager was completely dismissive of it, though. Ignored kind of seemed like he wanted to ignore the fact that that was even a thing. I brought it up to the lead tech at first. He said there was nothing he could do to wait till the manager got back. I had to take a leave of absence for COVID because I had a COVID scare when I went down to California, and
Uh-huh.
so I hadn't at the time known that I had those exceptions. When I had gotten to 2 weeks, 3 weeks had passed, and I was still bringing up this point, still bringing up this idea. Um, it finally got into my manager's attention, completely dismissive of it, didn't want to believe that it was a thing. I said he had dealt with a similar situation with another employee and that it wasn't disputable and that he didn't want to talk about it. And so I was like, okay. So I go and I tell him I'm going to talk to the people manager
Yeah.
because he says he doesn't know, he didn't know that there was an event and he didn't have a calendar to look. So I go back,
That's
talk
a
with the
low
people
effort
manager.
right there.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I go back, talk with the people manager. Long story short, she's not able to find the calendar, and so she offers to help me explain the situation to the manager. Explain, hey, this is what actually went down. This is what actually happened. I don't think it's something that's worth not disputing over. Turns out my boss had sent her an email saying this employee is going to come back here to complain about this exception, and I've already told them that it's not disputable. Don't bring it up. Just like in this matter of fact tone. While he goes back to talk to the manager, and the store manager tells him, "Oh yeah, there was an event," even though nobody else in the store knew that there was an event. And so
Uh-huh.
he's getting this information from one person, while everyone else is telling him something different. And so this all leads up to me sitting there deciding whether or not I should submit a ethics complaint. Because
Right.
normally in those types of situations, you would file that complaint and be done with it, because it's obvious that this person wasn't following policy. Nobody else knew there was an event. A bunch of people were having this issue. The people even told me that a bunch of people were having this issue, and
Hmm.
so on the one hand, I'm like, okay, let me bring this up to the higher ups. Let me tell them like this is what's happening at our store. On the other hand, though, I'm freaking out because if I bring up this information and tell these higher ups, then I'm putting myself at risk because I can't stay anonymous. I
Right.
can't hide behind the system because they know I was the one who pushed this towards bringing it up to the like I said, bringing it up to the higher ups.
Hmm.
Nobody else would have done that. They would have found somebody else to get rid of the exception, but there was nobody else for me to do that.
Dang. So you got laid out in front of the. Okay. See, this is what I hear.
Hmm.
First of all, he didn't have any interest in what the hell you were talking about. Period.
Hmm.
He wasn't interested. He
Yeah.
didn't do any research.
Yeah.
He didn't put any time in. He didn't give you any compassion. And on top of it, he's gonna throw you under the bus and make you an example.
Yeah.
That's,
Exactly.
that's what I hear. Is that? I
Yeah.
mean, okay. So then what? What happened? So did you end up? I mean, did you decide? Because you have what you have is your job,
Hmm.
right? And then
Hmm.
you have any future jobs that you could get.
Hmm.
Because this dude sounds like he's a little petty,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's trying to like CYA cover himself.
Hmm.
But the truth of it is that there was something going on and he should have known it. And he didn't
Hmm.
know it. Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. And it's not. It sounds like he didn't even want to do the work to figure out what was actually going on. And so
And we
instead
can
of doing.
assume since you live in Eugene and work in Eugene that this is a
Hmm.
white dude in
Hmm.
a white place. Any other coworkers of color?
There's one other. That other coworker was the one who got the exception too for that day.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh, so y'all just causing trouble.
Yeah. Oh, God.
That's how they look at it, right? They look at it
Yep.
like you're causing trouble. So did
It's
it resolve?
funny. What's up?
Did it resolve?
We're still in the middle of it, and it's funny you say that too, because when I was bringing it up, his situation was the first situation that he brought up. He's like, and this person's having the same situation, and I didn't do it for him, so I'm not going to do it for you. And I'm like, whoa, okay, we have different. First off, how you even know our situations are the same thing?
Right.
Different situations, different people. Um,
So he
and
just put it
so
all together.
yeah, exactly. And so I submitted the complaint to ethics. I was freaking out at work, while getting ready to do it. Showed
Mhm.
some of the other coworkers, make sure I wasn't doing anything crazy. They had all agreed with me. Even the other pharmacists had agreed with me. And so went ahead, submitted it, went back and talked with the other co-lead a few days later because it just wasn't sitting right with me. And he was back there, so I was like, hey, might as well say something.
Right.
We go, we find the calendar, we both look at the calendar, there's no event. And so we, right then and there, we both proved that like this is an issue. And so my that person, he was able to go in, he was able to remove the exception. My boss doesn't know that that person went in and did that.
Oh.
He
So
also doesn't know that I submitted that complaint to ethics. And
you're
so
still waiting.
I caught myself in another situation basically. So I submitted a email to ethics saying like, hey, don't bring this back up. But it's like, this brings it into the bigger picture, or why we're having this discussion is like, why do I have to, these people still did something wrong.
Right.
Why do I have to go and cover myself in order to make sure that I'm looked at favorable at the higher ups of my job?
I mean, okay, so this is the thing. I always look at it for people who don't believe that racism is a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is the one thing that I tell people and I literally teach people is like if you're working with black folks, black children, black teenagers, black employees, and they are telling you something that's happening and you don't think that race is going to be a component immediately, like you need to first start. And
Mhm.
people are like, oh, you're just pulling the race card, or you're just always making it about race. Now, look, we live in the United States of America. It
Mhm.
is about race
Mhm.
all the time. It's
Mhm.
constantly here. It's nothing that there's no part of what we do that doesn't have a race component to it, period. I mean, tell me one time that there is not a race component. I mean, I'm going to tell you like this. When I was 19 and I started working in the healthcare industry, I was in Houston. So
Mhm.
everybody that I worked with was Black, like, and Latino, right? And so race was still an issue. Colorism was an issue. Our higher ups, most of the physicians were white, right? The higher ups who hired the physicians were white. So no matter what we did, even when we had community of Black folks and Latin folks, we still had to answer to somebody who's going to tell us whether or not we're appropriate or not appropriate, and still not be comfortable with who we are as people, because we live in the United States. They don't see us as people. And then when
Mhm.
we're in a crowd of people, like you said, you two together, oh, you causing trouble, like two Black folks, the only two Black people there, right?
Mhm.
In the
Yeah.
whole damn thing, right?
Mhm.
So it's like you're carrying this burden on your shoulders already for, first of all, being a man, a Black man, um, who is not does not have a community around you, does not have supervisors that are backing you up, does not have the um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the benefit of the doubt
Mhm.
systematically. So
Mhm.
yeah, what you're saying is that, of course, systematically, where do we go? Systematically. Like, I mean, when I worked in Texas, it was a beautiful thing. Like, it was so much fun. And most of the doctors who were white were cool because they used to Black folks. They're used to Latino folks. They weren't the same kind of white folks that we're dealing with up here. Right?
Mhm.
Different
Mhm.
kind of white folks who's comfortable with race, who's comfortable with being white while I'm being Black. We're comfortable, right? We
Yeah.
can talk to each
Mhm.
other, right? So the difference wasn't like stark like that. It became more along the lines of I could say character mattered more there, but at the same time, systematically, they didn't have a
Mhm.
lot of choice either, right?
Mhm.
Um, but when I came here working in the medical field from Texas, it's like all of a sudden, it's like night and day. I
Mhm.
I am the subject of
Mhm.
everything that I do, right?
Yep. Yep.
I don't think people quite understand how tough it is to try to ignore. I don't know that we're ignoring it, but try to work around white folks' ignorance about their own racism, even when they're trying to be do-gooders. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
okay, for example, the other person that you worked with who is a upper who basically believed you.
Mhm.
What else did he do about that?
He didn't say anything to anybody. He didn't bring it up. He's just like, hey, I'll take care of it. I'll get rid of it, and it was just there and done.
Oh, so
Wasn't
he
even
did
a
take care of it. He took care of it
Yeah,
for you.
he took care of it for me.
Okay, okay. I was gonna say I thought he didn't do anything. I'm like, I'm gonna need you to step up, brother. Like, but he took care of it
Yeah.
and was able to. Okay, so now I'm just sitting here. Okay, look, as people are watching me, I'm eating my lunch and I'm listening to you talk. So please get
Mhm.
comfortable. Okay,
Mhm.
get comfortable. So now how do you feel being that that's kind of over your head now? He doesn't know what you did. It's kind of out there.
Mhm.
Like, is he gonna find
Mhm.
out?
Mhm.
So are you looking for another job?
I mean, part of me, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I went out and I started looking for another job because I'm like, at the end of the day, this is a retail job, and with the systems, with the structures that we have in place, this
Hmm.
is something that's gonna come back and it's gonna bite me. I was sitting around talking to some of the other coworkers. I was asking them like, hey, is this something that you think this guy's gonna hold against you? One person, they're like, he's probably not going to say anything. He's probably going to, push it underneath the rug, but he's definitely going to, it's definitely going to be something that bothers him. Another person was like, it's probably gonna hurt you, but it was the right thing to do, you know. And
Oh,
so it's like everyone's already acknowledging that this is something that is probably going to be an issue. If
damn.
you're acknowledging that this is going to be an issue, that tells me I picked the wrong job to start.
To start with.
Yeah.
See, now this is the thing. I don't think people give. I don't. This is like we have these moments. that,
mhm,
when we are looking for jobs,
mhm,
I wonder, like, how many jobs would we really be able to take and get if we started these questions in our interview? You know how they
mhm,
ask, "Well, do you have any questions for us?" And you go,
mhm.
"Yeah, let me talk about your race policy and
Yeah.
your equity policy and what your consequences for when you cross those lines. Who is the? Do you have a committee? Like, all you start asking those questions. How many jobs would we get if
Mhm,
if they were like robust? Like, yeah, this is what we do. We have a center we have a committee that meets weekly and we discuss about white supremacy and systematic threat. We bring all our policies through this. We make sure that they're reviewed and we make sure that our policies are and this team is made up of black and brown people, blah blah. I mean, we would not have a job, right? We
mhm,
would not have a job. How many places can we say are structurally supportive of equity, right?
mhm,
Because
mhm,
most people don't they're going to sit here, they recognize racism, and they're
mhm,
going to make it your problem,
mhm.
right? Because that whole
Yeah.
situation is like, yeah, bro, you did it, so I would start. I mean, like, how is it your problem? Why is
Mhm.
nobody going, we need to talk about why y'all were, why can't we go to the upper folks,
Yeah.
and talk about
Mhm.
why you guys were treated this way? Instead, they're like, yeah, bro, I heard they're hiring.
Yeah.
Like, why did that just become your thing? You know what
Mhm,
I'm saying? And then us,
mhm,
look at us. We're like, damn, I guess I can get another job here and here and here. Because what else are we going to do? This is
mhm,
what the part where systematic racism shows up every day, that part of the pressure that black folks and brown folks have being working in all white spaces, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
white folks have a really hard time, and some black folks have a hard time understanding what I mean when I say white spaces. Like, white spaces is is when you have a system that says what white does is what's normal.
mhm,
You know, so
mhm,
if we're in Eugene and we go to the we go to the movie theater, that's a white space.
mhm.
We can't be what we do in our own neighborhoods in that space. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
can't be open to be who we are.
Mhm,
You're not getting fair acknowledgement or equal treatment, or even the possibility of being heard by your supervisors, considering that you might have been discriminated against
mhm,
in a way that doesn't make it personal to them.
mhm.
Why are they taking it personally?
Yeah.
What the hell is this dude mad about?
Yep. And it's funny too because when you go onto the ethics site for the place that I work at,
Mhm.
um, for Oregon, they actually have a separate line now for discrimination. And so it's like you have ethics right here, and it says underneath that for Oregon folks who are experiencing discrimination, this is what you have to deal with. So the company's acknowledging that discrimination is way higher up here in Oregon than it is in other places.
Do they
But
list what discrimination is?
yeah, exactly. They don't list what discrimination is. They
Mhm.
don't they don't put that you might be experiencing it in the workplace, making it impossible for you to even make that claim. Because
No, they don't
as
say
far
that.
as I'm concerned, I've had multiple instances where I experienced discrimination, racism, all of it.
Right.
Just in that place where I've had to go and I've had to make reports because of the other staff members wanted me to make reports or wanted me to speak out on something. And so, it's a little weird if you ask me to, say that this is what we're focused on, where we're combating discrimination, yet to put somebody in a situation to where that's all they're experiencing.
No, I need you to describe discrimination.
Hmm.
This is what happens. People put this up on the Black Lives Matter. I need you to understand what are we talking about. You put the sign
Hmm.
up there, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if the police are chasing me, can I dip up in here? What is
Hmm.
happening when you don't understand what you think that you're trying to stand up for? The truth of
Hmm.
it is, what is discrimination? When it comes
Hmm.
to discrimination and racism is two different things. I
Hmm.
mean, they work in similar ways. Discrimination, you can discriminate by being racist, but racism is
Hmm.
racism, right? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And then there's anti-blackness, where it's
Hmm.
just like you do not put up, you know, absolutely absolved to not deal with black issues, black people, black, wellness at all. There's anti-blackness too. So when you say discrimination on your website, are you talking about ableism? Are you talking about gender issues? You talking about racism? Like which discriminatory actions or
Mhm,
factions are you actually talking about? Are you just saying discriminatory period? That leaves
mhm,
it very open because then now you get to tell me what that means, which is
mhm,
also not okay. That's
mhm,
also putting it in a way that is still protective of them instead of building equity.
mhm,
This is scary for white folks, though. I mean, let's just be real. When they start to understand that they need to, or that they haven't been equitable in their approach to employment
mhm.
and how much, because they think in numbers and lawsuits and shit, right? So
Yeah.
they think about the vengeance, the revenge of it all. We're just trying to keep a job where we don't feel stressed out when we leave, when we
Mhm,
come in and when we leave, right?
mhm.
It's
Yep.
like these two different perspectives of as soon as we give them a edge, they're gonna come after us, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna ask you. Most Black folks I know just trying to be here and be like not stressed out. Like we're just trying to take the stress level down
Mhm,
55 notches. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Around existing.
mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I do know, but I think we need to acknowledge how much fear is around in these policies, how much fear is around when you start making shit vague, that just screams racism.
Mhm.
So, anyway, that wasn't there when you first started? The little
No. Yeah, no, that wasn't there when I first started.
well, it can't be just because of you. They must be getting way more,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Or
They
at
must
least
be getting,
something's happening.
something's happening. They're getting way more complaints if they're having to put something up on their website. I
Mhm.
don't know. This doesn't
Yeah.
sound good.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know.
In your job search, what are you looking for? Not like in terms of places to work, but like what are you looking for? I mean, you are in Eugene, right? That's why,
Yeah.
right?
I'm in Eugene.
So I'm like in the line of work that you do, looking for something black owned might not work out for you, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so what's your approach now? Are you just looking for somewhere else, or are you just trying to find something specifically, or what do you think?
Well, now, and this also kind of adds into my discussion really. It's when when I've been looking for jobs or looking for work, I know what it is I want to do. I want to go into public health. I want to be able to do I want to be able to do those things. I want to be able to work with the county. I want to be able to work with some of those systems to change them in order to make them better and stuff. And so I know what I want to do, but the systems are already been put in place that keep you from being able to do those things. So
Right.
like in order to work in public health, to work as a public health worker, you
Mhm.
have to have a master's degree. There's no getting past that. There's no saying like, oh, I have my 4 year degree, my bachelor's or whatever, and I can jump in and be a good worker. Even though you might know you have the skills, or you might have that skill set, you might have the tools that's necessary to do those things, because now there's a checkbox in the way for you to keep you from doing those things. You
Mhm.
can't do them anymore. And
Right.
so I'm finding myself in this situation to where, I'm on paper, I'm not qualified enough to get into the work that I want to do.
Mhm.
But in terms of actual experience and research and those types of things, I'm more than qualified to do that type of to do those work to do that work. And so weird catch 22, so I'm looking for work, looking to find something that I can say, hey, this is a good way for me to start a career in, but constantly having to go back and constantly having to look at retail or look at these other positions or look at something that I don't really want to do, because those are the positions that I can fill that don't have a checkbox that I
Right.
need to fill.
So now the argument there is that
Mm-hmm.
you have to be qualified, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Master's degree qualifies you.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of higher education qualifies you. And
Mm-hmm.
then we have to go back to the systematic
Mm-hmm.
racism.
Mm-hmm.
What the percentage of Black men graduating with a bachelor's degree, a percentage of Black men graduating with master's degree or PhDs, right? In the
Mm-hmm.
field that you're even talking about, or just period. And then they go, They go, but why? Why are the numbers so low? What's going on?
Mhm.
But then again, systematically, they're not looking at where the blockage to access is. Where is the resources not coming through? What happened
Mhm.
in high school in science class when you wanted to be, what treatment, what support, what education, then what scholarships, what
Mhm.
advantages were you given at all? What resource, what access, what anything was given to make sure that you landed in the school? Then when you were in the school, because we're surrounded in white space, what access resource was blocking you, right?
Mhm.
And it's social, it's economic, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's all of these things, because we live in the United States, which is anti-black in its essence of who it is. So any
Mhm.
institution that's built from the basis of this country is built to keep us black folks at the lowest common denominator, like the lowest, right?
Mhm.
So when people are like, well, just go get a master's, it's not just like just go get a master's, right?
Yeah.
You got to
Mhm.
maintain a job that's being racist, who's trying, and then you're going to try to have to pay your rent and everything else with all the pressure of the racism that you're receiving at work, while then you go to
Mhm.
school and continue to have a barrage of blockage to the access that you need to be successful in a master's program. And at the same time, try not to have debt. If you're going to get a scholarship, if it's possible to do that, then you have to work some more. I mean, it becomes where it's like, what's keeping you going? Not
Mhm.
because the list is very long of why you wouldn't make it through, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
people go, oh, well, it's really hard to get a master's degree, blah blah. Look, I get it. The education part is for everybody to understand that you're getting a master's degree. You're trying to be specialized in something. But we're talking about access. We're talking about, systematic block to success for Black people. Now, every Black person who has a master's degree doesn't necessarily have the same stories, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
if you talk to somebody who's got a master's and PhD, they will tell you the exact same experiences, right? They all
Mhm.
experienced ways and straight up direct racism and bigotry as they are trying to move through move through their degrees, right?
Mhm.
So I hear you 110% on that, especially as a Black man. I remember when I was getting my bachelor's degree, I was like, I was in California, so there was Black folks down there.
Mhm.
And I remember being in, 'cause I have my degree is actually in psychology, but I have a degree in nursing. And so I was in this, an associate's, and I was in this program uh, to go and get my bachelor's. And I was in an advanced biology, organic biology class. And I was sitting there, and um, the teacher was this old Jamaican dude, a Black, short little guy. And he was like mean as hell. He was so mean. And he
Mhm.
was like, he looked around and he said, well, this is the first time in 30 years that I've taught this class that's all women. Right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right. I didn't even notice. I looked around, I was like, damn, there's not a man in here, right? And then I started to see how many people of color were in the class. Right.
Mhm.
Now, women together, we move into the education system. We're like, okay, women were seeing each other, but we Black women still are in the back of that pack, right? Black women still. But as I got my associates and went on to my bachelor's degree, the less and less people of color I saw.
Mhm.
Now, here comes my train, but it's not because it's not wanted. It's not because we're not capable or able. That's
Mhm.
the whole thing. That ain't the problem.
Yeah.
Like you
Mhm.
said, if they gave you a chance, you can do the job.
Yeah.
If they gave you a chance, and when I look at it, I was just looking for I was thinking about going into counseling, like, just because that's what I do basically, in everything that I do, I'm counseling. So I thought about it and I started looking up stuff. And one of the things that you have to get through is multiculturalism and ethics, right? And I was just like, who's teaching? You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
like, whose class do I have to pass to get this
Mhm.
master's degree? Still, a white curriculum, white folks telling me how to appropriately be closer to whiteness, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Not that it's going to be anything that's actually culturally relevant for me or my people.
Mhm.
And that's something that we have to swallow in order to get up to our master's degree. And hopefully, we can maintain our core of who we are, right? And
Yep.
then turn around and create some shit with our master's degree and our PhDs, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of friends who have PhDs. I have a nephew and a brother who have a PhD. I have a lot of friends who have master's degrees. And like I said, I'm thinking about getting my master's degree. I don't know though, because it's like when you know so much about the system and you're just like, do I want the white man letter behind my name? I'm not sure if it matters. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna work within the system, it absolutely matters.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you gain access?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the question.
That's the
And
question.
that's really where we're at right now. I think part of it is figuring out, where are these barriers? Because we already know where these barriers are. I feel,
Mm-hmm.
you go and you ask you go to any Black community, you go to any community of people of color, and you say, hey, where do y'all need help? What's going on? We can tell you, right off the bat, this is where we need help in. This is what's going on at, X, Y, and Z. But on the other side, it's looking at it on the other side, looking at folks from the other perspective. Are you capable of making the long-term changes in order to help us make a better system so that the next generation doesn't have to ask these questions, so that the people who come after me don't
Yep.
have to say, this is what I need to do in order to be successful. They just have the tools readily available for them, so that they don't have to deal with the same types of biases we have to deal with. And
Right.
it's going to take a while for us to get there. That's for sure.
I don't ever want to be the person who's like, are we gonna get there? But
Mm-hmm.
but you know, it's hard when you talk to people who are, benefiting from the system that don't even recognize the system. And we're
Mm-hmm.
here. Like I'm still talking about my dad was talking about this. He's
Mm-hmm.
77, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so what has changed like in this conversation? Where's the movement? And I guess I want to say that the movement has come with the internet where
Mm-hmm.
it's harder to act like it's not real when you're seeing it on a constant, like playback, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're able to access each other without accessing each other. Like I can dip into somebody else's cultural page and like watch,
Mm-hmm.
and not be there. Like I can
Mm-hmm.
just be observing and looking and learning, and so our lives are kind of on display, our interests are on display, what we look at is on display. And but that consciousness, looking at what's going on with the Capitol and these white folks having this cultural crisis that they're having, like they are
Mm-hmm.
having a cultural crisis, a complete meltdown, and we're all witnessing it. That I think is what's different, maybe, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that this is something that, I mean, maybe in the United States, but with the knowledge and access, or knowledge and numbers and education that Black folks have while white folks are melting down, it's
Mm-hmm.
different. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That's a little
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Um, but we're watching a straight up meltdown of the system, and I'm looking at what they're trying to save. And
Mm-hmm.
that does not give me hope. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you going for the wrong thing to save. You need to let some of that go and
Mm-hmm.
recreate something else. And they still have this like systematic white man's guilt or something, that they
Mm-hmm.
can't just go, you know what, we can't, we don't know what we're doing. We need to pull
Mm-hmm.
in other folks to do this. We need to recreate this space. We now people talk about it, but who's doing it?
Yeah. And
You know?
it's ironic though, because in order to even have that understanding of like, we need other people to come in and help us to do that, to have the understanding that your education hasn't equipped you to the level that you needed to do. And so that really just involves a bunch of white people coming around and saying like, hey, I'm not smart enough, I'm not the smartest person in the room, I'm not the person who's equipped to handle the situation. And nothing, right now there's nothing in media that tells you you aren't the smartest person in the room. We just had a president who was, who considered himself the smartest person in the room. Facts be damn. He made
Actually, damn.
experts. yeah, he made experts look like just the little guys again.
Hmm.
And so it's like when you're in that kind of situation, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to do a lot of work to get folks to even come back to that mirror in the first place. You look at I think your name was Marjorie, the senator who or not senator, the House of Representatives, who they had just voted to remove her committee assignments.
The green,
You know,
green, yeah.
yeah, it took all that, everything that was exposed, and only one additional person, only one additional Republican, that voted against her. And
Hmm.
not this isn't to say this is something that's against party lines or anything like that. That's just a fact. It took
Right.
all this stuff, and people are okay with it.
Hmm.
The fact that there are people who are okay with it, people who encourage it, should tell you that we got a lot of work that we have to do. That maybe that's looking at a different culture, maybe that's traveling somewhere, going and spending some time underneath a different perspective, but
Hmm.
you got to do something.
We have to do something. And who is, it's like that pride.
Hmm.
The system failed you too.
Hmm.
White folks, the system did not help. What the system that was built screwed you out of knowledge. Like, I mean, and I think that people are realizing that it's like, what don't we know? And then they're
Hmm.
realizing how much they don't know. And then
Hmm.
they're realizing how they can't tell between the fact and the truth. They are losing their grip, right?
Hmm.
And we're like, don't save the system. The system has been jacked. It's working exactly the way was designed to work. How about we
Hmm.
just scrap that shit and start anew? Like exactly what you're saying. How about we just swallow that pride, right?
Hmm.
And just realize we're in a different place now. We have different ability now. We
Hmm.
have a different science. We have a different society. We have a different community levels. We have different leaders. We have a way, we have a much a possibility of opening this up in such a way that four founders would never have thought of. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's like, can we?
Hmm.
But look, I have a friend of mine, she's Paiute, and she's one of my best friends. And I remember she I mean, we were talking about something, and I was like, what's going on? And she's like, girl, look, these white folks are in the middle of a day drama and they having white man problems. And so I'm just waiting till it's over. And I was laughing because I was like, ain't that the truth? Like, we're just
Hmm.
all waiting for them to get a grip,
Hmm.
And we're like, it's not that serious, y'all. Like, just
Hmm.
like I said at the beginning of the pod, just settle down. It's all
Hmm.
good. Don't nobody want to hurt you. Don't nobody want to. We're just trying to be
Hmm.
out here living equitably. That's all.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're not taking nothing. We just want something. Like we just want access. That's all. Just
Hmm.
there's plenty. So anyway, I like super appreciate this conversation and that you came and that we were able to talk.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
have so many more questions for you, so we definitely have to do a part two. But I know you
Okay.
have somewhere to
Hmm.
be at 4, and here I am. I have somewhere to go. I appreciate you being patient with me today.
No worries. Thank you.
Yeah, and I feel like we could do a part two. What you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we can definitely do one.
I
Hmm.
think so. Cause I want to know more about you and what you've been doing in the community and how you've been.
Hmm.
Um, I don't have a lot of I don't know why, but I don't have a lot of men that come on my show, and we need a perspective, black men, or people who present as men. Like we just don't have a lot on the show, and I'm welcome
Hmm.
to anyone who wants to come and talk. But I feel like these conversations need to be heard from both sides, right?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Man, good luck with your job search because this is
Right.
this is something that I can't. I mean, I can't imagine trying to do it in Eugene. Like
Hmm.
I have had my own. I mean, I've been tokenized probably every job that I've had.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm trying to remember if I've ever had like multiple black women that work with me or black men and women that work with me
Hmm.
in Eugene ever. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
like ever. And I mean I've had some folks no, not multiple, maybe one other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how long does it take you to decide if that other person is safe that you can actually talk talk
Yep.
about real between them?
Hmm.
You like, are you cool? Are you not cool? I don't know. And then it takes a couple months to realize that they are cool and y'all can have
Yep.
lunch together and stuff. But
Yep.
y'all really can't be having lunch together every day because then you like two of a pie.
Exactly.
All of that we have to go through. Ooh, anyway.
Mhm.
Did
All
you have
right.
any last pieces that you want to say before we go?
No, I think I'm good for now.
You
But
good?
let's do that. Let's get that part two going though.
I'm down. I'm definitely
Mhm.
down. All right. Well, thank you so much, Martin. And I'm gonna try to figure out how to get this on Facebook.
All right. Thank you. Take it easy, Aisha.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye.